Hi, Maria here. Welcome to my channel. Today I want to share with you the fragrances that I've worn the most. So out of all the fragrances I've talked about through the spring and summer, these are the ones that I wore a lot of days. Definitely there were clear winner margins as far as fragrances that I gravitated towards. So I can't wait to share them with you. It's kind of a mix of niche and Middle Eastern. So before we get started, if you haven't subscribed, just go ahead and hit that button. Join the Weird and Wonderful family. It'd be amazing to have you part of the community, and let's get into this. So the first one I want to start with is Habibi by Bozo. Now this is a gorgeous cherry fragrance, but it's a cherry fragrance that is a little bit less typical than what has been out on the market. So when I think of a typical cherry fragrance, I think of the fall winter cherry, deep dark, like the black cherry, a little bit boozy, quite gourmand. I think of that kind of cherry, like cherry pie, cherry cobbler, cherry liqueur, cherry chocolate. Those are the kind of cherries that I see as typical. They're usually uber sexy, sultry, great date night fragrances, and I love them. I totally love that type of cherry. But this cherry kind of stood on its own and is one of the nicest cherry fragrances, honestly, I have smelt. I think maybe because it's a little bit different. Now this one is a brighter, kind of more green cherry. It definitely has almond in there. As this cherry dries down on the skin, it gets just a little bit musky. It says that it has sandalwood, but I don't really notice the sandalwood. What I get mainly is cherry, almond, and a really beautiful green note. So it would be as if you're smelling a fresh cherry outside right after the rain on the tree. So you're like maybe picking a cherry and eating it. It's bright, it's juicy, but there's that green component all around you. So although this fragrance is one that I would probably pick more in the spring and summer, it's an amazing all year round fragrance. To me, this is a signature scent. It's very sophisticated and elegant. I think it's great for office or basically any time. It's decent longevity. I don't oftentimes pay attention to longevity other than every once in a while I'm like, oh, I can smell that. I can smell this for a long time. So 7-8 hours is what I get out of it. But I just think it's beautiful. If you're looking for a high quality signature scent or fragrance that has cherry that's a little bit different, to me, this is an amazing option to go for. So I love wearing this one. I feel sophisticated and classy when I have it on. I feel put together. And although it's what I would say quite feminine, I don't feel like, you know, just a little girly. It's very grown woman, powerful somehow, even though it stays very feminine. So I love this. I love the cherry. I love the almond. The almond is underneath the cherry, and that green note is definitely prominent and stays prominent throughout the wear of the fragrance. So just thoroughly enjoy this one. Now, the next fragrance that I wore a ton of is Three L'Imperatrice, however you want to say it, by Dolce & Gabbana. It's hard to get a hold of this one at this point, but I've smelt L'Imperatrice and it smells quite similar. Either one is amazing. I'll link whichever one I can find. So if I can find this one, I'll link it. All of the fragrances will be linked. I just enjoy wearing it. It's a musky fruit salad, basically. And I so enjoy this fragrance in the summer. It lasts a good 5 hours on me, if not longer. For the hot, hot summer days, this is such a refreshing fragrance. It has rhubarb, kiwi, watermelon. There's some floral aspects, but what I get is kind of a kiwi watermelon vibe with some musk. And it's very refreshing. I love, love, love. Like, this is my go-to fragrance. And like, it's one of my most worn fragrances, period. I've got a lot of fragrances, so I don't make dents like this easily. But this one, I just so enjoy wearing this one. And I find that I'll crave it in the summer because it's just so relaxing, spa-like somehow. It's carefree and it smells like summer to me. Being I mentioned watermelon, I have to mention this one. I wore this a ton and it is Wave Child by Room 1015. This one is fairly new. It's one of my favorite releases of 2024, honestly. I think it's gorgeous. This is definitely a sexy watermelon, if you could have one, but it still stays refreshing enough that it works in the heat. This has orange and lemon in the opening. I don't get any of that. What I get is watermelon, big time watermelon. There's cacao, ambergris, and amber wood in this. I get the watermelon, I get the cacao coconut vibe, and somehow it's just uber sexy. I thoroughly enjoy wearing this one. This one lasts a long time on the skin as well, like at least 7 hours. Great projection. This is the best watermelon fragrance. Like this one has a mixture of kind of kiwi rhubarb watermelon, but this is definitely more watermelon, and I just love it. What I would often do is I would wear this during the day, and then I'd toss this on later afternoon, evening as a little bit more of a sexy version of watermelon. So they worked really well together, but this, honestly, best watermelon fragrance I've ever smelt. Not that I've smelt a ton of them. And yeah, the cacao coconut that's in here, it just feels relaxing and really, yeah, like I think of an evening on the beach, carefree, relaxed. It's just super enjoyable, but this one is quite sexy, so I love it. Another fragrance that I wore a ton of, in fact, I almost wonder if this was the one that I wore the most. It's hard to say. It's very possible. It's Khair Fusion by Paris Corner. I thoroughly enjoy this fragrance. It's supposed to be similar to Eaton Sparkling Lychee. It's bright, it's energizing, it's invigorating, and this is just a really good go-to, energizing, uplifting, happy fragrance for really any time of the year. But I've put this away for the winter because to me it does smell a lot like summer. Khair Fusion is uber fruity. So it's got lychee, red apple, blackcurrant, and lemon in the opening. The middle notes are pansy, jasmine, sambac, and tafe rose. And then the base is musk, vanilla, cedar, and sandalwood. I just get a huge amount of that fruitiness. I don't really distinguish between the fruits. It's just super fruity, smells a little bit like gummy bears to me. It's not super authentic smelling. It smells actually quite synthetic to me, but it's just happy, fruity candy vibes with some musk and a little bit of vanilla is what I primarily get out of this fragrance. I think it's fun to wear. You get about 6 hours out of this. And yeah, really enjoy it. It's pretty affordable. I think it's about 40 bucks Canadian. So the price is right. And as far as an invigorating, uplifting fragrance, this is awesome. The last fragrance that I wore a ton and absolutely love, it's also signature scent worthy, is Mallow by Soradora. This, I would say, is my favorite fragrance. Habibi is right up there. It's in my top 10, but so is this. So Habibi and this one never go away. They're there whether it's spring or summer, fall, winter. I have to have those two fragrances out. This has raspberry in it. There's vanilla, orange blossom. There's some almond in here and violet with some musk and some amber. I don't get any amber, but I do get musk. So this to me is a raspberry, vanilla, violet fragrance with a hint of musk. And I just think it's beautiful. It smells fluffy. The raspberry isn't too sweet. The raspberry to me also doesn't smell overly synthetic, and it's beautifully blended with that violet. This fragrance lasts a good 10 to 12 hours on my skin. Just absolute beast mode performance as far as I'm concerned. So an excellent fragrance, excellent value for money. This one is pricier, but I just think if you're wanting a really beautiful fragrance that you can wear any time of the day, any time of year, any type of occasion, this one is absolutely beautiful. It's feminine. It's got just the right amount of sweetness, playfulness, paired with that violet that's not too violet-y. So definitely has that cool violet feel. A little bit powdery, a little bit marshmallowy. This also has some orange blossom in there, But I absolutely love this fragrance. Like, I just can't get enough of it. This one in Habibi, I had to stop myself from picking these all the time. If I had just these two, I'd honestly be very, very happy. And interestingly, like, they're both very different. This one's a green kind of bright cherry. This one is a more fluffy raspberry, but they're both kind of fruity. But they're both so classy and gorgeous. So I just love these. As far as easy reach everydays, signature scent worthy, these are amazing. All 5 of these fragrances were by far the most worn. I just kept grabbing for them. And I, for whatever reason, didn't feel like, oh, I guess I haven't worn that one for a while, I'm going to put it on. But even looking at this, so 5 fragrances, those are basically what I wanted to reach for all the time. So it shows you don't need a ginormous collection. In fact, that can get overwhelming. So these 5 are just so beautiful. They all had kind of a fruity component to them for sure, but that is something I absolutely love wearing in the spring and summer anyway. So those were my most worn. What about you? What did you reach for the most? Leave it in the comments. And if you've tried any of these fragrances, please weigh in and let me know what you think. And other than that, I hope you have an amazing week and we'll talk to you soon.